What's up, everybody? It's your boy Danny Green here, my co-host Harrison Sanford, and this is episode 1 of Inside the Green Room of season 5. Very much long overdue. I know you guys thought we were done, probably retired and closed up shop, but we are back, and we are in a new city this time around. We're in Memphis, Tennessee. H, tell them what we got for the show today.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in, and thank you in advance for subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show. Yeah, as Danny alluded to, we are now on year 5 of the show. We started the show in Toronto. Danny won a championship. Then we went to LA. Danny won a championship. And so anybody who's been listening to us since those years, thank you. And we'd like to say a big welcome to everybody in Memphis who is now checking in on us and hopefully following us throughout the year. I think, Danny, we've had, I can't even remember how many guests we've had from your former teams. Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah,
we've done
too many. So we're not going to look at the past. We're going to go to the future. We have plenty of new guests to come on. We got some young guys, some good kids on the team. I shouldn't call them kids. They're grown men. Some of them have families. But it'll be a lot of fun to get to learn a lot of my new teammates. Not just for myself, but for the fans who are tuning in, subscribing from other cities like Toronto, LA, Philly. So yeah, we'll have a couple good episodes with some of my teammates on.
Yep, for sure. So make sure you subscribe, rate, review. You'll be able to keep up to date with everything we got going on. We're also on Instagram at Inside Green Room, and we're also on Twitter, which I'll get to in a moment, at Green Room Inside. Coming up on the show today, we will discuss some of the happenings with Danny's former teams. We got to talk about Russell Westbrook, got to talk about what's happening in Brooklyn, got to talk about Ben Simmons. A lot's going on in the NBA, even though it's so early in the season. And also want to find out why some of Danny's teammates don't like him. That's for later in the show. But going to the Twitter, Danny, you could find Danny on Twitter. I think you probably know it by now. And you could also find me on Twitter at Harrison Sanford. I am currently unverified, Danny, but I think with $8 out of my pocket, my friend, I could be in the verified world. And I will tell you this,
kid.
I'm upset for those who are first time listening. I also fill in host for ESPN Radio, and I work for MSG Network as a sports betting analyst as well. So there might be some sports betting stuff when Danny's not on air on our podcast feed. So stay tuned to that. But Danny, I've been a journalist for a while. I've covered a bunch of sports before.
You're doing Twitter, thing, kid. You're doing a damn
Twitter.
Thing.
That's besides the point. But Twitter never verified me, regardless of all of the press releases that I included, all of the links to all the companies I've worked for. Doesn't matter. Only now with the grand total of $8 a month, I could be verified. And I'm telling you this right now, Danny, I don't think I'm going to do it.
That's a steep bill, man, for like $100 for the year. I don't know, man. I wouldn't pay it either, honestly. But, when you got people that you know that have some connections, they can probably get to Jeff. Nobody knows. Maybe
I don't got a direct line to Elon or Elon's right-hand man or the right-hand man to the right-hand man to the right-hand man of Elon. So it's coming out of my pocket if I want the blue check.
Nah, we might be able to get a connect, man. We talked to somebody that knows somebody, knows somebody. He said, we'll get a way to get to Elon. I don't know him personally. I do love the Tesla car, but I can find a way to get to Elon maybe.
So I don't know if you know, Danny, but okay. So I thought the people who had the blue checks get grandfathered in so they don't have to pay the $8. Danny, you're gonna have to pay $8 to keep your blue check.
I'm getting rid of it. It's over. It's a wrap. I'm not paying $100, man. I don't got it. Gas is too much, even though I have a Tesla.
You're not paying gas. You got a Tesla.
Here, I don't have my Tesla here. So either way, nah, man. I mean, what happens if there's like 500 people impersonating Danny Green with a blue check? That's cool, man. I don't need the attention. I don't need the fame. As long as I got me, that's all I need. That's all I need to have. So yeah, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, Twitter's about to be a wild, wild world. If everybody could just pay for their verification.
Yeah, what kind of business is that? I'm cool. Nah, I'm cool.
All right. Speaking of which, okay, you are in Memphis, so you don't have one of your vehicles. You're using another one. Tell me how your experience so far in Memphis has been. What's been the best part so far of you joining the new squad?
The organization, it's been amazing. They made the adjustment very easy for me moving in and getting acclimated, getting adjusted. Obviously, the city is a lot different from Philly. It's a lot different from Toronto, LA. It's very similar to San Antonio, but still a little different, more south. I've never lived that far south. But the organization has been A1 from top to bottom. They've made this a very easy move. And the fans, I said, it's a great fan base. They've been amazing. They've been very welcoming. They've been embracing me and with open arms. And, you know, it's a real hospitable city. So I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying how they do things here and how, you know, Zach and Taylor have a great thing going within the organization. So it's been a lot of fun, and learning my teammates. Being around a group of younger guys, younger gentlemen, has kept me young.
Yeah, I think we might have to edit this out, or maybe we'll keep this. I think I can recall you saying to me after we spoke on the phone, you said, if they offered me an extension or a long-term deal, I would stay here for sure.
Yeah, well, I don't think we need to edit that out. I think
Okay.
I might have said that on the Howard Beck show. I'm not sure. I did say I did like this place very much, and it seems like a place I could call home for, you know, a couple of years. I do like what they got going. I said, even if I'm not here, I could see this organization, this team, these young guys, if they stay together, having a grip on the league in the next couple of years to come for sure. They're already a good squad. They're already a contender, but another 2 or 3 years when they mature, I think they're gonna, you know, have the league by storm. So this is definitely a place where I would love to build and love to be a part of what they're building here. And I could see myself being here for another couple of years if they allowed it, if things worked out when I come back healthy and play how I fit. You know, you never know. So it could be a good marriage.
Yeah, I think you might actually fit very well. I've spent some time watching your team. I haven't really tweeted about them just yet because I want to get the full download. But man, it feels like a lot of, in the words of Kendrick Perkins, a lot of agenda-free basketball. I love to see it. The ball moves around. Everybody's a live threat to score.
Every role player's dream. Every role player loves to play in that type of system, man. And to see, I said, what we're missing and what I could add, like, you know, after even tonight, watching certain teams, certain matchups, we're down bodies right now. And going against a team like Boston, when you're lacking size, what I could help defensively if I was there. Myself, Zaire, Jaren, you know, we have a lot of guys. Steven Adams didn't play tonight, but we'll have a lot of depth by the time we get 100% healthy. And I think it's great that our rookies are getting thrown into the fire and learning quickly and growing and, you know, I guess getting a chance to kind of reach their potential a little bit, because later on in the year, we're probably going to need them. But we never know what's going to happen in terms of injuries or sicknesses or health. You know, COVID's still around. We act like it's gone, but you never know what's going to happen toward the end of the year. I'm going to need some of those guys to step up and give us a good boost off the bench.
Yeah, for sure. I was looking at some of your stats, and obviously at this point in your career, obviously you want stability, but I'm pretty sure you'd also like to win another championship or two.
Yeah, for sure.
The one thing I am concerned about, and this is the same thing with how the Raptors were when you were there. You guys are getting a lot of your points off of fast break situations. Now, the one difference, obviously, when you were in Toronto, you had Kawhi, which is, you know, one of the best isolation scorers in the league, especially that season. He was incredible in the playoffs. I do wonder what happens when the game slows down. Because again, you guys are top 10 in fast break points. You're also top 5 in top 10 in rebounding rate, top 5 in offensive rebounding rate. I just don't know how much of those things translate to playoffs, especially if you're on the road.
When you got Steven Adams, that helps a ton with the rebounding. I think it only gets even better when you have Jaren Jackson to the lineup, him protecting the rim and also rebounding and finish. I think Ja's still growing in that sense of becoming that ISO guy, half court set, get us a bucket type of guy. Him and Dez have really grown and matured. But I think those are guys, you know, with Taylor's actions, I think we could get some great looks in offense, regardless of the fact, even without that. So I think Jock is very capable. I think Dez is very capable of getting a bucket. And when you add Jaren to that, I think he's a mismatch all over the floor, whoever guards him, because he's a big that can shoot the three and post up and drive. So there's not much he can't do. So yeah, I believe we have three guys that are very capable, if we need them to get a bucket for us, when it comes to that point in the season. But I really believe in trusting Taylor's actions. I think he has great, X's and O's and great timeout, ATOs after timeout plays. And then, but the biggest key is if we get stops, we can get out and run. That's the biggest key. So we don't have to play half court. That's the whole goal, is to not have to play half court offense every time down. So you have to get stops and play good defense.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, you guys can take another step up defensively when Zaire comes back, when Jaren Jackson Jr. comes back. Yeah, you guys definitely have some good personnel there. And I do think as well, Desmond, because of Jaren Jackson being gone, Desmond's getting a lot of primary ball handling or primary initiating actions when Ja goes to the bench. And that's probably only going to help you guys going forward. But I would also think, Danny, that apparently, as much as you've enjoyed watching these guys and getting to know them, I'm pretty sure, from my understanding, they weren't too fond of you coming into their team.
Yeah, I was the ops, supposedly, is what they say. The young guys, the young kids call it the ops. I guess when they were growing up, they watched a lot of basketball. Of course, all these kids were NBA fans and basketball fans. And as you get older, which happens very fast, I became the old vet very fast, because in Toronto, I wasn't that old. I was just a vet. In LA, I was just a normal player, veteran, because we had so many older guys. In San Antonio, I was a young guy. Overnight, I became the really old guy in Memphis. And, these kids watched me play when they were younger. I actually dealt a little bit of it in Philly, because Tyrese was a Dwayne Wade fan. So he didn't like me very much either when I was playing for San Antonio. And a lot of these kids were Bron fans when they were younger and watching him play in Miami. So, they were like, "Oh, when I was younger and we watched you play, man, you was the ops. We didn't really root for you. We didn't really rock with you like that." But now we're on the same team. Things are good. Things are cool. It's very similar to like when you play against a guy like a Dylan Brooks. He's a scrappy guy, hard nosed. Everybody in the league probably hates him. But when you have him as your teammate, you love the guy. It's a certain type of guy you want on your team, because he's going to put everything on the floor, lay it on the line, and you kind of have a better understanding for him. But, it's kind of one of those type of things, even though I don't consider myself like that type of player where I'm a scrappy and do dirty work, Marcus Smart tonight, or Patrick Beverly, those guys that get under people's skin. Even still, in that sense, I think people understand it once they get to that level, or when they play with you, what type of player, what type of things that they can learn from you, and also what they appreciate from you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing how future interactions go with your teammates. And I want some more stories of what they might have said about that experience from some of those finals years, because I'm sure they were watching as we all were. That's you. I mean, listen, Danny, like, if you really think about it, like, you've been a part of some
I'm
memorable
not old. I just
moments.
been around for a while, yes. And a lot of them, when we do talk on the bus, they do tell me the times that they actually watch certain playoff runs. Like, I was at that game when you were in Toronto and you played against Orlando. We watched this game when you were playing then. And it kind of makes me feel old, even though it was only like, some of it was only like 4 years ago. But, they were in high school, a lot of these kids. So they're 20, 21, now
crazy,
22.
Right?
But yeah, the league, it seems like it's getting younger. So yeah, it's just crazy to think how time flies, but also it wasn't that long ago. But they I wouldn't say some of them have admired or humbly watched or inspired by some of the things that they've seen, my teams do or myself. But it's just funny how they talk about me or to me about the things that they've experienced watching me do, or certain games that they were at, or where they were at when they're watching certain games.
Yep, a lot of experience for you that's going to help you break down what's happened. So what's happening in the league using some of your reference points. I saw that you were on the Grizzlies broadcast, and you have joined the league of active players with also a television gig, also joining ESPN. I want to talk about that. Guys like Ben Simmons, guys like Russell Westbrook, teams like the Los Angeles Lakers. You have to talk about them whether you like it or not. And that's what we'll do next. Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. We'll be right back. Back like we left our car keys. Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. quick little look at some of Danny's former teams that we'll do probably throughout the course of the season, because obviously he left his footprint there. Let's go to the Los Angeles Lakers, Danny. And I must say, I know you're over it. You're good at like turning the page. I still every now and again get upset about how it ended in LA, not just because obviously you're not a member of the team anymore. And I thought it would have been cool if you got a chance to defend your championship, but they pretty much dismantled the roster from what it used to be. And I thought they had a pretty good roster, even though I thought you should have stayed in LA, or I would have liked for you to stay in LA. I thought the Dennis Schroeder trade made sense, but the Russell Westbrook trade didn't make sense to me, not 1 cent at all. And we've seen how it's kind of turned out. However, I have to say, I have to give my props to Russell Westbrook. It seems as if, Danny, he has finally embraced the bench role. And he's not a bench player, but him coming off of the bench and not hurting the spacing for LeBron and AD, you got to give him a lot of respect, because it seemed like it was a very difficult thing for him to embrace at first. And obviously with what he's done in his career, I imagine it must have been difficult, but he deserves some props. I believe, at least, Danny.
Definitely. I agree, man. And, we've seen a lot of superstars go through this process. Carmelo Anthony being one. The list goes on. There's a couple of guys that have, when they go to different teams, they need them in different areas to bring a spark. And sometimes it may be off the bench, and adjusting and embracing, and just to give a different look of lineup doesn't mean that you're any less of a player, any less of a starter. You're just giving our team or the group a better look what's best for the team. And since he's done that, he has a more positive attitude. It seems like he's got a better energy to himself, a better step to himself, and be able to play more like himself on the court. He's having better games. He's being the active Russell Westbrook we've known him to be, and getting rebounds, assists, and scoring, and not a ton, but he's scoring a lot better than he did, more efficiently attacking the rim. But he's able to handle the ball a lot more and set the table for the most part. So I'm happy for him. He's at home. It's tough to see a guy at home struggle and go through that and be frustrated when it really was not his fault for being put in a situation like that, And of course, I got backlash talking on the Beck show about certain movements that they made. I'm not upset about how things ended in LA. We ended on a championship, so I'm happy. Of course, it would have been nice to see, or interesting to see, if we were able to defend a championship, but things go the way they go, and we won one, and I'm good with that and happy with that. But I said I wasn't calling out anybody when I said certain things didn't make sense, or certain pieces need to be done, or that's our league today. When I say teams need shooters, that's everybody in our league needs shooters. Everybody knows LeBron James, AD. I'm not saying so-and-so is not doing his job. If I was talking about Rob Pelinka, I would say Rob Pelinka's name. I never spoke about there's more than one person running an operation there, it seems like, anyway. There's a lot of people that make decisions when it comes to certain movements, and I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying, what is necessary, needed for today's league, and not just for LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but everybody, every team needs shooters and defenders. So that's one thing that they're lacking. And I'm sure that not just them, but everybody else in the league is looking for whenever they get the chance to. And I'm sure there'll be some moves made at some point if they can make them.
Yep, for sure. Speaking of making moves or acquiring shooters, Danny, I don't think your former head coach got the memo about this 7'3" unicorn playing in France right now, Victor Wembanyama.
Which head coach
I would have, I would have thought Mr. Greg Popovich. I know he doesn't coach to lose, but the Spurs are playing too good right now. What are they? Does he not know about big old Vic in France? What's going on with the Spurs, man?
But they only know one way. You know what I'm saying? Pop only knows to coach to win. I'm sure his players, they play hard, and they've been playing well. They've been hooping. Not only them, but Utah as well. The teams that you thought were trying to tank to get this guy and start over and get picks are the teams that are balling. I'm not saying Portland was a team that was trying to tank, but the teams that you didn't look at last year are making some noise this year and doing well. Portland's one of the top teams in the West right now. Utah is doing very well. San Antonio, they're all hooping. So to see that, it's a great thing for our league, man. We don't need teams to tank. We don't need teams to to lose to try to get, better players or picks, but we need, that competitiveness, and, chips will fall where they fall, guys. Even just because you have the worst record doesn't mean you're going to get the number one pick anyway. It's a lottery pick. So it's great to see, though. I'm happy for them that they found a good spot. They're playing well, playing hard. Happy for Will Hardy in Utah. They're playing amazingly so. And Dame has got a shot to make the playoffs this year and make some noise in the West.
Now that I do a lot of sports betting content, Danny, for MSG Network, I'm constantly looking at stats and like efficiency ratings and all that stuff.
Of course.
Part of the reason why the Spurs and the Jazz are playing so well, they're putting up a lot of threes and they're playing at a very fast pace. And the Jazz specifically, they're playing a lot of 4-out, sometimes 5-out with Olynyk and Markkanen already out there with Clarkson and Conley and THT and Colin Sexton. They're not your typical NBA team. They're hard to game plan for sure. I was actually having this conversation with your fellow Tar Heel, John Henson, who does some of the betting content with me. We were talking about the part of the reason why the Jazz are also playing so well. Now, listen, we know the front office wants to tank, right? That's the best. That gives you the best chance at getting the top prospect in the draft. But the players don't necessarily want to be in Salt Lake City. No disrespect to Salt Lake City, but I imagine players don't want to be in Salt Lake City and losing. If I'm going to be in Salt Lake City, I am trying to win, or I'm trying to put myself in a position where I can get up out of there. That's at least my theory.
I think it doesn't matter where you are. You can be in the best city or the worst city. As an NBA player, as a basketball player, you want to win. You compete. You want to fight, and you're competing not just for winning, but for a contract. So these guys are out there. They're fighting. They're fighting for a job, or they're fighting for a starting position. They're fighting for a bigger contract. So all those things come into play, and I'm sure at some point, if these teams really want to, quote unquote tank, they will probably, sit some guys, rest some guys certain nights. But for the most part, I think they're going to keep rolling. They're going to be playing well. I don't know if they're going to tank, but there'll be nights or a certain part of the season we're like, all right, they'll make some trades again, or they get more picks, or they'll just have nights where guys rest even more and take some days off. So we'll see how it goes. I'm sure it'll slow down, but those guys on those teams, they're hungry, man. They're trying to get contracts. They're trying to get paid. They're trying to get positions. They're trying to get minutes, and they're trying to win regardless of where they are. Nobody comes in this league wanting to lose.
Another thing John Henson and I had a conversation about too as well, Danny, and it's been a profitable investment for us, is looking at certain teams that are playing in certain markets. Like, for example, if a team's in Salt Lake City, I assume that they're going to come out ready to hoop because I don't think the nightlife is that tempting. But now that you are a veteran, you've had your fair share of travels around the nation for NBA purposes. John and I targeted the Philadelphia 76ers when we knew they had multiple nights, or at least a night to spend in Toronto. And we also targeted the Atlanta Hawks, who got blown out by the Toronto Raptors because they got to spend Halloween weekend in Toronto. I'm curious, Danny. Give me
what cities to target. You could target a lot of teams.
Let me know what other cities that y'all like to go out in, so I can properly invest my a couple shekels in.
I'm not a gambling man.
No, you don't. You're not. I'm not saying you can't.
But if I were to pick certain cities to target where I know teams are going to be out later, I know Miami is one of them. I know New York is one of them. And the New York teams are actually, the Knicks are playing above what people expect them to play. They're playing pretty well right now. But those are some of the cities, of course, LA. But, those are some of the cities that guys
Houston
or teams.
Is Houston on that list?
There are some Texas teams, Houston, Dallas for sure. Guys can find something in any city, but the teams that stay a little later, the cities that stay open a little later and have more fun in are probably those cities for sure.
Yep. For those who know where I'm going with this, just pay attention to the travel schedules. Might help yourself out. With that being said, part of the reason, Danny, why I also targeted the Sixers to lose that game against the Raptors, this is way back. This is when they had James and Joel, obviously before James got hurt, and I think he's out for a month. The Philadelphia 76ers, at least right now, too, they rank last in pace. And I'm going to tell you how I feel about the 76ers. At least this is when James was there, when James was healthy. And I know James has had there's a lot of backlash that he got last year for not being on top of his game and him not being himself. And so it looks as if he probably took some steps to be a better version of what he was last year. And I think he told Chris Haynes before their national TV game, like he's coming back for his respect or something along those lines. And I was watching some of their games and I'm like, he's dribbling a lot and he's scoring a lot. And people say he's playing well. Bruh, for me, I don't think that's conducive to winning basketball. Like the ball was still sticky. Tyrese Maxey it looked like he was playing your role. He didn't have a lot of offensive sets laid out for him. Tobias is pretty much Tobias's role could be filled by a $5 million player, what they had him doing. And I'm there's only one lineup outside of the Jazz now. There's only like one lineup in the NBA that could put out 4 guys capable of shooting over 36% from 3. And that's the Philadelphia 76ers when they're fully healthy. And their pace is so slow. It's like they're not taking advantage of the roster that they have. And I'm not even a Sixers fan. I'm not a Sixers fan anymore. You're not there. But like I care about basketball. And I like to see it played. I want to see good basketball, damn it.
And you want to see some of your guys that you rooted for still play good basketball. I understand. I'm the same way. Regardless of them there or not, I still tap in to see what they're doing, who's doing well, and how things have changed for them. So before we get to that, the other thing you can target is look at the schedule, who plays 4 and 5 nights, road games. There are some trap parts in certain team schedules where there's back-to-backs, where they have to travel of how far. Us coming back from Portland, 5-hour flight, then have another game back-to-back, which is kind of crazy. There are trap situations. So now getting to Philadelphia. James is still a very good player, and there's not many teams that can win at a slow pace. But it's tough when you have James and Joel who need the slower pace to score. James, ultimately, I'm not saying that he is Luka Doncic, but they play similar styles of play. Now, Luka doesn't have a big man like Joel with him. He can just do his thing and have shooters around him. They play a little slower. He comes up the court. They still play a little faster than them, but he can play slow, get to his pick and roll spots and probe and pace and score or find his shooters. James now has to pick and choose his moments, and I think they have to mix it up more with putting the ball in Tyrese's hands to give some more pace, because he'll get the ball up the floor. But with James is, getting into his stuff, and you have Joel too posting up, that's a formula for very slow basketball. When you have a post-up guy and a guy that likes to do pick and roll or get in his bag at a slower pace like Luka, it's going to be tough. But I think they just, find a way to balance it out. Have a little bit of, obviously Joel's MVP candidate, so you have to feed him the ball, but you can still do that at a faster pace. But you have to mix in Tyrese, getting the ball in his hands a little more and taking James off of it some. But yeah, it's going to be tough to figure out, because both those guys, need the ball in their hands and to play at a certain style to be effective.
Yeah, I just don't think I just don't think that their styles don't maximize the roster. Like, and frankly, I think it just hurts the development of Tyrese Maxey. Like, again, when I used to see him in the corner, just standing there, like waiting for a catch and shoot, I'm like, bruh.
Yeah, Tyrese that's not what he needs to be doing. But so we'll see. That's why Doc gets paid the big bucks, to figure out how to, manage egos and put pieces in the right place to make that puzzle fit or work. But yeah, that's a tough, because there's too much. I feel like too much talent, too much stardom there to operate with. James is a very good player. He's a star. And he does what he does well. Tyrese is is a star player. Tobias is a star player. Joel is a star player. And you have 4 of those guys in the starting lineup. It's tough to manage. It's tough to figure out, and it's hard to put any of those guys on the bench. How do you have one of them come off the bench? That's ridiculous. But at some point, somebody's got to sit down and be the Russell Westbrook, and give their team a better look by coming off the bench and giving other teams, make them more dynamic and harder to guard and harder to prepare for when you split the lineup up a little bit.
Yep. Yeah. Just, I'm just a man who likes to see basketball played at its best levels. That's all. We'll be right back. We'll close the show inside the green room. All right, last segment. Time for us to go to bed, do something else, watch a movie. DG, what are you watching? I need a recommendation, bro. The House of Dragons a wrap. I can't watch all these sports. I need something else. What you got?
I mean, The Patient was good. I don't know if Ted Lasso came back out, but yes, I've watched House of Dragon. I've been watching In the Dark.
Ted Lasso overhyped, by the way.
Oh my gosh. I know you did not just say that.
I'm telling you, man. Yo, listen.
Ted Lasso was a great show. Everybody is.
It was solid. It was solid.
It was very good. And it's because it gets to the point. It's quick hitters. It makes it a great show. You don't have to wait an hour. You know what I'm saying? It's a good show.
Did you like Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I've only watched some episodes. I've not watched it fully through.
This is why we don't get along. This is why you watched Ted Lasso, but you haven't watched. No.
It's way so many more seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think they're longer episodes, are they not?
They're like 30-minute episodes, bro.
Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yeah. I've been on a rewatch right now.
How many seasons are there?
I think it's like 9 seasons, bro. It's 9 or 10.
Ted Lasso was like 2.
And hella entertaining. More entertaining than Ted Lasso.
Bro, I've watched the Dahmer series, which was really good. It was kind of dark, but I've watched a lot of them, man. Blackbird was really good. I'm into the murder mystery shows.
Yeah.
But Blacklist came out a new series or a new season anyway. So did In the Dark, and you're catching up on those, the stuff that come back out with new seasons.
Well, since you ain't watching nothing good, from what I heard, at least you should be able to. You're not nothing to write home about for me. So I encourage you to have a list of places for us to go out and eat in and enjoy life in Memphis by the time I get down there, because again, you're not watching anything that's making me rush to hit the download button or rush to hit this year.
You're visiting this year?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Go to Philly, you guys disappear. I never see you guys, but I'm glad you're coming out. But yes, I haven't gotten out much in Memphis. I would love to get out more and check out some of the food spots. I'm gonna say I'm a big foodie, but I am a foodie. I do love to check out the culture from the food. So those who are tuning in, who are subscribing, reading, rating, etc., please leave in the comments some suggestions of your favorite spots to go to, favorite food places. I'm a big breakfast guy. I'm a big everything guy, but yeah, I'm definitely trying to find the best pancakes, French toast, waffles, and sandwiches, barbecue, etc. Please leave those in the comments if you will, if you can.
And I heard a little birdie told me that if you run into Danny in the streets of Memphis, if you ask nicely, you might even get tickets to the game too.
Yeah, people they're very comfortable with asking for tickets. I thought you were gonna say I'm gonna pay for your lunch or something like that. Yeah, it's a city that they are very southern like southern, and they show a lot of hospitality. And I think they're just those people that treat everybody like family. They think they're part of family. They see you on TV and they're like, hook us up, hook your boy up, hook me with some tickets. You see people. And I'm like, it just doesn't work that way. That's not how it works. We don't just get unlimited tickets where we can give to anybody and everybody, So if there are available tickets, and if I know you well enough, or if we speak, or if there's something going on, I'm doing some community work, which I plan to do this year. There may be an opportunity for me to give out tickets, but we don't just get unlimited tickets to give out to anybody. That doesn't even, some people don't even watch. They're like, oh, I don't watch. I just heard you're on the team. So you think you can get us some tickets? And I'm just like, man, you don't go to billionaire and ask him for $1 million just because he has it.
Whoever put you on the Kawhi and Dine budget, that's good. They got to get first dibs on tickets.
Right. We'll see if they get some good suggestions, then we'll hook them up with some tickets.
For those who don't know, when Danny and I were in Toronto, when they were trying to keep him in Toronto, the local restaurants put up stickers basically that said Kawhi and Dine, and basically Kawhi was able to eat there for free. They were trying to keep him in the market. Didn't see any stickers for Danny though, but they still loved you and us. I think they appreciated our presence. Speaking of appreciating your presence, Danny, I think you are enjoying the presence of your new teammates, I believe.
For sure.
And being the elder statesman, I think you've been prohibited. Have you been prohibited from the aux cord?
I have not been prohibited.
Okay.
I'm not on it as much. I'm not saying that I need to be. I'm not a DJ. I'm not the type of guy that's on the aux cord. But coming here has made me want to get on the aux cord more than I've ever been in the past. I was telling you earlier before we got on air, not saying I'm not. Some of the younger artists and younger generation, I don't know very well. I do know names. I don't know their music as well as I know people of our generation, and Youngboy being one of the guys that every time he drops music, he's number one. And I've never heard a song before, and I never knew how he did it. It was uncanny how he would always drop and be number one. Also, I'd never ran into anybody that listened to his music, maybe because I hung out with people my age. I'm like, how does this guy drop? Coming here made me realize why he's number one consistently, because all they do is listen to Youngboy all day, from morning to night, from shoot around to the game. It's NBA Youngboy. And I've actually got a chance to be more familiar with his music. It's good music. I enjoy it. I understand it. I understand why they like it. But it's very much turn up music nonstop. And I feel like there's moments for that. It's not.
Yeah, you got to put the young scraps onto some R&B, bro. Some 90s R&B, some little kickback music.
And
you gotta.
I try my best, man. Like, look, here's some history, here's some music, here's some chill music. In the morning, we don't need to turn up. When we're lifting weights, cool. We can listen to some Youngboy. When we're about to play and you're about to get crazy, okay, let's listen to some Youngboy. But when you're getting treatment or you're getting a massage, I'm like, we can't listen to this all day, every day. So that's all they listen to. And of course, we got NLE Chopper, we got Key Glock, all those guys from Memphis, that are doing their thing. R.I.P. Dolph, but all the guys that we've lost. But we have some Memphis rappers that are doing well, and they listen to here as well. They show a lot of love to the Memphis rappers. But yeah, man, Youngboy.
It doesn't seem like massage. It doesn't seem like massage music, bro. It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like hot tub music when you like try to.
I'm like, what do y'all listen to when y'all with your girlfriends? Do y'all listen to? I think they listen to Youngboy, man. Honestly, it's kind of crazy. But as we're speaking on the rap game, we have to give a shout out and rest in peace to Takeoff, him and his family. Prayers, PNB Rock, who also showed a lot of love. We lost so many people this year, last couple years. Obviously, some older due to COVID, sickness, and of course, gun violence. It's never a good situation or a good thing to see when you feel like our community is so far behind. We still have so much further to go to get where we want to be. We always constantly see something where we take a step back, but hopefully we learn from it. Hopefully we grow from it, get better from it. And hate to see it, but our rap community's hurting. Our community's hurting from this one. This was a tough loss to take.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Takeoff. Definitely left a mark. And they definitely he left the legacy behind. They have created a whole new generation of hip hop and culture that won't be replaced, can't be replaced, but will always be remembered. So shout out to him. And Danny, you got it right. We gotta tighten up.
For sure.
Gotta tighten.
We lost some other people too. We had lost Elias.
Yes.
He was on our show. I remember back then, I think he was not only doing UFC, but he was doing something other business. I don't know if it was legal at the time, but great energy, great spirit. Elias Theodorou, if I'm not saying this correctly or not, but big shout out to him and his family. Rest in peace to him. He was an amazing guest that we had on our show, and said a great energy, great person. So we want to send our love and prayers to him and his family.
Yep, for sure. Thank you for passing on that note. And thank you for everybody who listened, watched Inside the Green Room. Again, you can find us on Instagram at Inside Green Room, or also on Twitter at Green Room Inside. We'll be hitting you every week with episodes, breaking down what's happening with the Memphis Grizzlies around in the association. You could also catch Danny from time to time on ESPN. You can catch me sometimes on ESPN Radio.
Debut coming soon.
And if you are some of our fans listening in the metropolitan area, you can also catch me on MSG Network, helping you potentially make some money legally on sports, because that's just the way the world is going now. So if you're not with it, get familiar. But nonetheless, we appreciate your time. Oh, and you could also find me at Harrison Sanford on Twitter, and you better find Danny on Twitter right now. Huh? Yeah, you better find Danny now at the DG underscore D Green
underscore 14. Yeah, before my verification gets taken away from me.
Exactly. So, yeah. Before there's 500 different Danny Green accounts out there, you better go follow him now. So
D Green underscore 14, and on Instagram, Green Ranger 14. So yeah.
Hey Danny, I need $8 to pay for my Twitter subscription. You got me?
I'm not paying for mine. So what would I pay for yours? It's not happening, pimp.
Invest in your friends, bro.
I will on other platforms.
All right, y'all. Appreciate your time. We'll see you next time.